There's meditation, there's contemplation, and then there's the two that work in between. My daughter really has taken up to it. She'll go off. She was at grandma's house this weekend, and she went outside and we got a little 10-minute meditation in. So it's not about the product. It's about building those processes. And then the biggest thing for parents is the whole concept of do as I say, not as I do. We've got to kind of kick that to the curb at times, and you've got to be the change you want to see in your children.
Let's learn how our next guest gets up, dress up, and show up on purpose. Enjoy the episode.
You're already dropping gems, and I have to quickly let everyone know who I'm talking to. It's the men of the hour, Roger Pollard, and you're right. You have been around kids all your
Yes,
life, 15 years and
yes,
counting, right? So you've been a coach and a high school coach. You have been a high school teacher for 15 years, and then you coach football for 13 of those years, right? And then you have been a head coach. So you know about that growth, and you're dropping the gem. And I love what you just said about, you grow when you go through that difficult, that pressing time. The diamond is developed when there's tons of pressure. That's what a diamond is, right? It did well under pressure. And
100%.
so I want to welcome you on the show. Thank you for taking the time to join us. So let's talk about that, right? Let's on that topic of like a diamond does well under pressure. Let's talk about that, the difficulty, and how when you come out of that, you are stronger and tougher and better.
Well, it is I think it's the lesson that we all know, because anybody that I see that's walking, I think in this stage in our life, we like to think and focus in on when we fell. But when we were learning how to walk at that stage, we didn't care about how many times we fell. We were only concerned with our goal. We were only concerned with the thing that we were trying to do. So, I think in our era of, and everybody has Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. When you take a picture and you don't like it, you delete it. We're constantly scrolling through the finished product. And I don't know if we really spend enough time on the process, because the process is what makes you great. Um,
Man.
uh, it's that's just the way it is. If you look at anything that you have done in your life, because every single thing that you have done, you have learned. Everything that you have done, no one has ever just walked and did it on the first step. You never picked up a clarinet and played it perfect on the first step. Like, failure is not failure only, no matter what you do, because if you
Yeah.
fail, you either learn that it's not for you, because everything that you want might not be for you, and then
Yep.
two, you learn a different method in how to get what exactly you're searching for. So embrace that. And then we know from brain activity, frustration, the feeling of frustration actually marks that spot for us when we go to sleep, so that your brain could try and figure it out, that right hemisphere and that left hemisphere can speak to each other. So, you don't go through things, you grow through things. And that goes from a physical level to a emotional or mental level, so hey, let's get out of our feelings and get into the facts, because we know what we know because you're walking. So, you know, get down
Learn to
7
fail
times.
forward. Learn to fail forward, right? Fall 8, fall 7. What do you say?
Fall
Wake up 8.
7,
I think Denzel Washington.
fall 8, yeah, fall 8 or wake up 9. Get up,
Get up.
go. Essentially,
Point is,
that's,
get your
yeah,
up, get your you know what up, get up, get
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. And there is no feeling sorry for yourself, because we are all, and spoiler alert, we're all going to die one day. So we all have an hourglass right now, and it's ticking down. Everybody, every single person that is in the earth right now would switch places with you in a heartbeat, no matter what you're going through. So, I call this the absolute value mentality. No matter how bad it is, as a rational being, there's an attitude on the other side that's just as powerful, but positive. Now, it sucks getting to that negative side, but if you take a step back and you make your decisions based off of both, you now have your aim, right? I think the greatest sin of our time, which sin is the word. It's a Greek word used. It was originally said hamartia, which means to miss the mark. And what I tell people, it was an archery term. The positive side of my bow and the negative side of my bow makes a longer bowstring, and now I can aim. So, it's not positive or negative, it's positive and negative. And now you make your aim and now you shoot. And, are you going to miss? Maybe. Are you going to hit it? Maybe.
Mm.
But the one thing that we have to continually do is go, move forward with the best, that you have in mind.
Yeah, I'm curious. Like you're dropping so much gem right now. I can listen to you speak all day because it's just motivation. It's coming out of you. It's seeping pour out of your pores.
I'm
Uh,
in,
I
I'm
want
in
to talk
teacher
about
mode. I'm in teacher mode.
you're on teacher mode. I can hear it. I want to talk about your book series, your motivational book series that's coming up. But tell me now. Your 8-year-old. You have a boy and a girl right now, and we know that the subconscious mind develops very early. So for the first 7 years that you have them, what you instill in them is going to carry them for life. And as a motivational speaker, I want to know, what are you speaking into their life? What do you speak? How do you motivate them? How do you inspire them? Because I want to learn when do I do affirmations with my daughter? Like when does that happen?
Yeah. I do it through one, like you said, affirmations. My favorite one is that if we were a superhuman, right? If we were Batman or Spider-Man, what exactly would our superpower be as human beings? And I tell, I have them when I wake them up first thing in the morning. What's your superpower? And it's the ability to focus, right? If we cannot focus on anything, then we can do nothing. And it's so that's our one. That's our big one. And then two
Are you
is
saying you telling them to focus? Like when they wake up, you're bring into their attention the need to focus and concentrate.
what well I'm asking no, I'm telling them that, hey, I'm asking them, what is your superpower as a person? So I'm ingraining the concept that it's our ability to focus that's our superpower as individuals.
Ah,
So that they just know that. And then two, even before they knew what they were saying, I said, who's the most important person? Who you are or who you become? And it's who you become. That ties into what we were talking about with failing.
yeah,
Failing doesn't matter because failing is on the way to who I become. I
that's
can
right.
always be a little bit more. I can always be a little bigger, stronger, wiser, faster, more compassionate. I can always, evolve myself into something greater. And then forward, I tell them, good, the concept of good has always been here on this earth. It's been here before us, it's been here with us, and it's been here after us. So a lot of people might tell you, oh, you're so good. No, you're confusing that. You're aligning yourself with the actions of what is good. It is a continual thing. It's just like motivation. When no one stays motivation, no one stays motivated. Everybody has to return back to the motivated state. And for my students who are in high school, which I like as a history teacher, yeah, I'm going to give them conversations about life and what they should do and how they are thinking. I'm always going to tie in our lesson with that is, oh my gosh, coach, I'm so motivated. Man, I wish I could take you with me. No, because if you do not learn how to motivate yourself, the only person that you will always ever be with is you. So
Mm,
and this ties into my first book. The number one thing that we have as individuals is we need to learn who we are.
mm-hmm.
Who are we? Who are you? No matter what job you take, you are always going to work with somebody else. What do you know about people? Are there different things from a personality perspective, and is there different things from a sociological perspective? And now that you see that and you can ingrain that, you can put that on you, right? Am I introverted? Am I extroverted? Am I agreeable? Am I disagreeable? So that now I know what I can do. Like if you want to go to McDonald's right now, you don't know where McDonald's is. You put McDonald's into your GPS. It's giving you two things. It's giving you where you want to go, but it's also giving you where you are. Where are you? Who are you? Who are you from what we know as human species about individuals? And now that you know that, you have more of an idea of where home base is, so that now you can reach out. And now you know whether or not you can walk to McDonald's, whether or not you can get a car to McDonald's, or whether or not you just say, you know what, forget about McDonald's, let me get Pizza Hut to come over here. It's too far. But if you don't have a proper understanding of who you are and how you are, which is the number one thing that I focus with with my kids and getting them to understand what their personality vectors are. So
And then that's your vantage point. You have somewhere to start. You have somewhere to work towards. And what you said about who you becoming is it transfers. It's through everything in life, like entrepreneurship. You know, we love it. As an entrepreneur, it's not about the end goal. It's more who I am becoming,
yes,
attaining those goals. That journey, that process that you talked about, right? We don't
process.
so much pay attention to. We're like looking for the final product,
Yeah,
but it's who we become along the way. Same thing with parenting, right? Like I'm
yeah.
3 months in, heck, I'm not the same person I was 3 months ago.
Mm-mm,
After giving
mm-mm.
birth, it's who I'm becoming through this process, through this journey of becoming a parent. And you can attest to as well. The last 8 years, you've become someone. Every day you wake up, you're different, and you have to sometimes even put yourself in the back burner and just focus on how you want to frame these young minds,
Yes,
as you do as
yes.
a coach too.
Yeah, well, and it's it's always easier, and I like to get into deep psychological concepts and things of that nature. But like when you know something, if you know, why do we ask ourselves a question if we already know the answer to it? And that's because we learn from a dialogical standpoint. We learn through conversation, and we learn through the viewing of other people. Right? That's why the most, even as a parent, I'll say the most a fundamental aspect for my kids is going to be their friends, right? Like we as parents, we want to say, hey, we really raise our kid. Nah, we know the data is in the biggest people, the people who have the biggest and greatest effect on our development are our friends,
Our
right?
peers.
And I mean, we know that from our age.
Hmm.
There's that point where it's like, oh yeah, my mom or my dad said this, but my all of my friends are doing it. Can I have all of my friends have this? Like, so we see the world through, or we see us in all of the relationships that we have. So it's that ability to look, out and within, and I'm sorry, look out and be able to bring that within us and give us something to be relatable to. And that's the closest. Those are your friends at the end of the day. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
getting 10-5.
Yeah, no, that's great because Jim Rohn says you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Right. So
Yeah,
be
tell
very
me your favorite.
selective on who's in your circle, who's around you. And even
Yeah,
with the kids, we gotta play a active role in helping them select, especially
yes,
at such a young age. But even
yes,
as entrepreneurs, as business individuals, we have to be mindful because they're going to feed our senses. They're gonna play a role in what we hear, see, smell, taste, touch, and where we go and what activities we partake in, what books we read. You know what I mean? Like they're going to play a very critical, important part in our development, in our growth. But Roger, you said something earlier that I want to go back to about telling your kids about what is your superpower, the ability to concentrate. It's funny because in school we hear concentrate, 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 focus, focus, focus. But has anyone really taught you how to do so?
well, yeah. Well, there's two things. Like, essentially, when you're focusing on something, you're looking at it from a lot of different angles. So this will tie into how the human brain works. We have the social default network and we have the targeting network. Just on a stance for motivation. Anytime anybody looks at a spot for more than 30 seconds at one spot, our systolic blood pressure rises because we're aiming creatures. So when in terms of their ability to focus, I let them know that one, everybody gets distracted. That's that social default network, right? Because if
Mm,
that didn't happen, if I was sitting here and remember, our bodies are hardwired for outside in nature. Well, what if there was a lion creeping up over here? If I'm totally locked in, I don't see that. So every now and then we do go off topic or we do get off. But the number one thing, the number one skill in terms of focusing is your ability to rebound. And that's life, right? Your bad
mm,
things are going to happen to you from a football standpoint. The best teams play bad well, right? They go through a bad streak and it doesn't continually haunt them. So your focusing is our ability to hone in. And with that said, when I do go, and I am going to go, I can be able to come back, and that can be that can be built and strengthened through motivation. Like we know that when I said motivation, I'm sorry, meditation. And
meditation. Yeah. Okay.
we know that when you meditate, you're actually you're actually strengthening the lateral prefrontal cortex, the lateral dorsal prefrontal cortex, which we know has to do with focusing on the material. So I'm a meditator. I have my kids meditating at that just
Yes.
because you said that. It's so powerful.
When did you
But
start with them? Because I haven't. You know how we have nightly routine. It's the first thing we establish with kids. Now I'm starting to think, okay, what's a morning routine? How do you begin a morning routine? How do you get an 8-year-old to get up and start meditating and take some deep breaths before getting out of bed, right?
yeah, it's for us. It's not too consistent with them. Like I do it nighttime before bed. Like after we read, if we get a good night where everything goes as planned. But it's there's meditation, there's contemplation, and then there's the two that work in between. So like my daughter really has taken up to it. She'll go off. She was at grandma's house this weekend, and she went outside and we got a little 10-minute meditation in. So it's not, it's just like we were saying, it's not about the product. It's about building those processes. And then the biggest thing for parents is it's the whole concept of do as I say, not as I do. We've got to kind of kick that to the curb at times, and you've got to be the change you want to see in your children. So if you want them to read more, pick up a book and read. Like we do that. Hey, it's reading
Yeah.
time. I pick up my book, they pick up theirs, and we get 30 minutes of reading together. Because I mean, as adults, we know no one parties at the house by themselves. We go out with other people to be social. So now it's the same thing. If there's an activity that you want to invest in your kids, you want to see a positive change in them, then take part into it. At times you want them to eat healthier, you eat healthier too. We go on little family walks and things of that nature. So being active with them and modeling and scaffolding the behavior that we want to see as a family together I think it's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, learning to model and be that example. Yeah, I agree because they're watching, they're learning. I mean, now my 3 month is looking at me and watching my every move, and so
Mm-hmm.
gotta be able to set that example and set it early. Do you foresee entrepreneurship for your kids? And how do you even begin to install that idea? Like you don't have to, we kind
Well,
of
it's
just, the 9 to 5 per se, but like do the dream to encourage what comes natural and build this, do the 10,000 hours and build that.
yeah. Well, it's hard. Just me being a personality guy. The biggest thing that we know about entrepreneurs is that they are creative. Because
Hmm.
you can't just come out with a product that was already out. Because, well, why? So
Right.
the hardest thing about creativity is that people uh, like consistency, right? If my house had a creative mind and it could blink and move every day on my way home from work, it would be very hard to build and mold. So the thing that I give with them for them is honing that creativity in that art. There's a section in my second book that has to do with artistic creation. So like I say, our brain is actually distributed throughout our body. We have that concept that it's only in our head, but we know that blind athletes, after they win a race, they put their hands up. So they've
Mm-hmm.
never seen anybody do that before. So there are certain things about our body that we've kind of diminished the true worth and value and what it does for us. So I say practice that creativity. My daughter is more of the creative, and my son is more of the in line and conscientious and orderly. Um, so with my daughter, we get on YouTube and we put little draw this item or draw that item. Just like I said, the meditation, dancing. We had a little dance
Mm-hmm.
party one of these nights before, but taking them through that creative act in different forms, because creativity, there is, I think everything we do is creative. Like even
Right.
this conversation right here, this is creative. So
Mm-hmm.
just building and honing that through different skills, and then having conversations with them about, it doesn't really matter what you do. You're my daughter, you're my son. I love you to death, and my job here is to help guide you and show you the path, but you've got to do your walking. It doesn't matter what I've done. It doesn't matter how tall I am. They have got to do their own growing. I am only a guide.
Yeah, I'm excited for this next generation, though. I mean, you coach kids now, and what am I? I'm a millennial, and so there's Gen Z, there's all these other generationals coming out
Hmm.
after me, and I'm excited for them because they are stepping into that notion of, that creativity is fluid.
Yes,
It's evergreen, and it can change, but it's constant, as well as it puts them in a very good place to be entrepreneurs, to
yes,
build those businesses, to because we know the power of like owning your own business is just like that freedom, that autonomy that it gives, but also it actually just lets you live a purposeful life, and I think
yes.
that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, yeah. It's like if everybody was a creative, then we would have no organization. They say our creatives build the business, but our conservatives run the business,
Hmm.
right? So it's I think it's like with everything in life. If you would say 100% of the things out there can be a poison. I can drink so much water that I could actually die. You know, so no matter what we do, we've got to truly understand that we're in this together, and it's about everybody playing and in every single one of their niches playing the role that is meant for them.
Hmm.
Like my wife is a freelance makeup artist, and she's going back to school so that she can start doing Botox. She's doing this and that. She does that. I love waking up every day at 5 a.m. I know I start school at 7:15. I know I'm out at 2:20. I know I'm off in the sun. I'm more of that in the box schedule guy. So a lot of it has to do with just part one, and that's why the first book in my motivational series was find out who you are, because as great as entrepreneurship is, if you have a super conservative spirit, it's not for you. You know,
Hmm.
as good as being a teacher is, if I have a super creative mind, I'm going to be in the classroom bouncing off the walls. So the first thing before we even start talking about a goal and an aim is I have to understand where I am. Who, and how am I? And why am I like that? Am I like that because I associate something that I've been watching on TV? Am I on that like that's what my heart is really saying and speaking to me? So I think everything comes back down to self-discovery. And then once you've come up with that discovery, now you can go out and you can say, okay, this is this is the relationship that I would like to have with society. Because honestly, that's all a job is. Like, how much of you is you? You didn't imagine life without language, but you didn't create language. Imagine life without like, who built. I don't even know the people who built this house. How many things do we come across that has been handed down to us from other people? And it's damn near everything. So it's being grateful for that and saying I'm going to put my mark in too. Now,
Hmm.
however it is you want to put your mark in, I'm with that. Just understand it. It has to be catered and tailored to you, not because what someone else is saying, but because that's what truly is speaking out of your heart. And I think that coincides with finding your purpose, um,
And
and
finding
going
out
from
who
there.
you are and
Yeah.
understanding who you are. And in the second book of their series, you talk about directional. So how is that? You know who you are, and then the what?
Now it's life is courage, love, and discipline. And I say courage because no one knows what's going to happen in the future. Courage is the ability to move forward knowing both the good and the bad, right? And I broke that down into like you're whoever you are right now. So what, because I don't want to get too abstract on this one. It's, well, what are you doing? This is your body. What are you doing food-wise? How are you eating? What are your eating habits, right? Two, what are you exercising like? A lot of people think that exercise is about having good abs and all that stuff. Exercise increases the brain-derived neurotrophic factor. What does that do? That goes and it comes from your muscles and it comes from your liver and it goes into your hippocampus so that you can have better memory. Because if you had no memory, would you even be who you are? Everything that you do has to do with your memory, and then I'm modeling the world, and then I'm moving out off of that model, and I'm constantly updating that. So there. And then 3, sleep. How much? Oh, I'll sleep when I die. We know that the graveyard. What do we call people when they work at night? Graveyard shift.
Graveyard
Right?
shift.
What what are your sleeping habits like? If you wake up to an alarm clock, well then have a alarm clock for your bedtime. And really track those 3 things. And now we're being practical about building our courage. And courage is the willingness to look at the good and bad. One, this is the body that I always have, and 2, I know where it's going. It's going in the dirt. So am I taking care of it? How much water am I drinking? How am I taking care of my temple? 2, love. Love is the dedication that you have. It's a self-sacrifice, right? Like we all look at mothers, right? Mothers give us agapic love. Agapic love is how you love a thing before it's even a thing. Like you
No one
love
can
your
give you anything
child.
back in
Yeah.
return. Can give you
And it's
anything
not
back in
giving you
return.
nothing. It's just spit out and start crying and
Yeah.
feeding and whatever. And that I'm giving you that sacrificial love. Well, what kind of love do you give to yourself? It's not about, I may not want to eat the salad right now, but I'm doing it because I know 10 years down the line, all of those little changes with how I eat will help me in terms of my health. And in terms of how you eat, I like to tell people it's not so much about what you will eat as opposed to what you need to cut out. Like I had a Skittles problem. I would eat a bag of Skittles every day. And then I learned about they said sugar is candy for cancer, right? Like we know that these studies are coming out. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get off the sugar and let me start doing what it is I know I need to do, and I eat a certain way to remedy that. What way should you eat? We are a diverse species. If you look at all of the foods that we eat, there are people who eat A, and there are people who eat Z, and there are healthy people all along that spectrum. So that's where I say, whatever it is, don't do a diet, because a diet is something that's really short. I'm saying make a
Lifestyle.
decision, a lifestyle change. You're gonna cheat? Are you gonna veer off a little bit? 100%, just like we were talking about with focus. Are you gonna veer
Process.
off? Yes. It's about rebounding and coming right back. So, on a day that I have a cookie for lunch or I have this for lunch, I go in and I make sure that I make myself accountable and I get it through the workout. And then discipline. Um, and discipline is using the lessons and blessings from the past to help me move forward into the future. Like do the things you know you're supposed to do and don't do the things you know you're not supposed to do. And that's it. So I break those down into, just actionable steps where, are you on courage, love, and discipline? And then know if you're doing that, if you're being intentional about those things, you can, lay your head at the bed at night and you will see the difference. You'll see a difference flat out. The only thing that follows work or results. So it's how intentional are you being about how you're taking care of you? Because, just as a father, I can't take care of my kids if I'm sick. I
Mm-hmm.
can't take care of my wife if I'm not where I need to be. So
Yeah.
what is it that you are doing that you know you need to do that you're not doing because you lie to yourself? And I mean, we all do it. So
Yeah, we do. And to be honest with you, Roger, I look forward to that cookie, and I say I treat myself. I eat it with joy because I know
yeah,
Monday through Friday I'm going to get back on that workout 7 in the morning and taking care of myself.
exactly,
It's the process.
exactly.
It's the journey,
Yeah,
right? That's all we forget. We
hmm
forget the ebbs and flow of life. Like
yeah,
your shirt
yeah,
says, be life. Be that.
yeah,
Be
yeah.
that ebb and flow, right?
100%. That's what, because I tell people, belief. We'll say, oh, I believe this, I believe that. No, belief is be life.
Mm,
What is it that you are doing? Because I don't trust what you say because I know you lie to you. And I've been saying lie, but it's not lie. What it is when people are lying, they're using your truth against you. What we do, and that's why I put courage, love, and discipline as a triangle. It's a trinity. It's always moving. We can't focus on more than one thing. Our brain cannot do it. We
right.
only look at one thing. So when I say we're bullshitting ourselves, like we know how we're supposed to eat, but what we do is we look over here and we forget that. So it's not about what you say, because I'll say this and then I'll go over here and forget that, and I'll still say that. So you know, hold yourself accountable. how are you holding yourself accountable? What is, and I tell my students, I tell everybody I talk to, do you know the Pledge of Allegiance for the United States of America? I pledge allegiance to the flag. Well, what is pledge is a vow and allegiance is a line. Well, if you know the Pledge of Allegiance to America, what's your Pledge of Allegiance for you?
Mm.
If there's a Pledge of Allegiance for America and you know that, then why don't you have a pledge for yourself? I don't like it. And then now this is the thing. If you hear something and you believe it, you don't say it. You be life it. You do it. So now
Yeah.
make your pledge. What's your pledge? What's your pledge? Because what does America in the school system say? Every day that you come in there, you come in every morning and you say your pledge to the flag. Well, every morning you should be brushing your teeth, right? But that's another conversation. Every morning while you brushing your teeth, say your pledge to you. Why wouldn't you? I think America is one of the greatest countries up here. I think of the American system, everything has its fault. It's the best out of all of the worst, so, however you want to term it, but we're here. So
Mhm.
if they're up there, get yourself up there, and it starts off with your personal pledge. And in doing that, you'll see and manifest a greater version of you. And
Yeah.
what
Well
what
put.
higher aim is that?
Well
What higher
put.
aim is
That was just book two out of the series. Now, the third one, you focusing on explanation of those values.
yes,
What's
yes.
the breakdown for that?
I'm just getting more, kind of philosophical from it. So like I say nothing, everything is duality. The most important thing that has ever happened to you in your life is that you were born. But then we also know just right there in that is that someone was there to catch you. So we are both the psychological and sociological aspect behind it. Like the five agents of sociology or the five agents of socialization are your faith, your family, your friends, mass media, and education. What role do those have to play in there with you? So going deeper into the five big five personality traits, which are conscientiousness, agreeableness, neuroticism, extroversion, and openness, and and not talking to them because in book one I talked about those, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the sub factors in each of those. Like conscientiousness is made up of industriousness and orderliness. Agreeableness is made up of compassion and empathy. So giving people again more of an understanding of exactly what it is, and I get into meditation, what it means, meditation and contemplation. What's the difference? What breath work can do? What a cold shower in the morning does for you in terms of, and again, I'm just putting the facts out there, but we know through Occam's razor, you cannot derive an ought from an is. So I'm just giving you the facts. They're all right
Yeah.
here. Now, what you want to do with them is up to you. But the journey always starts with learning because every single thing that you do is learned, and in that, uh, that's what creates our tendency to be self-deceptive. Because in order for me to learn, I've got to be able to ignore, and
Yeah.
because I can ignore in order to pay attention, I ignore some of the things I need to. So now I can go off into a trail. So the most important thing about us is that we're always learning, but I think that just with that, because we're always learning, we have to always challenge what we learn, unlearn, and relearn, and then repeat. And so going into some of the theological concepts, some of the problems I think I see today, where I say if logos is the integration of concepts or speaking honest truth, then I think our era today is so gold, which is how much how much how much of a lie can I have in a statement before the statement becomes a lie? Kind of that, and I think we're living in the age where I think business used to want to provide you with a service, where now I think we just want to turn a profit. And and then my last one is really um, uh, a Super Bowl commercial for 30 seconds. A Super Bowl commercial costs $5 million. So what does that tell you? That tells you that what you put in your ears and what you put in through your eyes makes a difference. Like we all know that McDonald's and Burger King and Pizza Hut are all the top restaurants in the world, but they advertise to you continually. So if they're doing it and you already know them, what are you purposely advertising to yourself to put you in the direction that you want to go? Not where I want you to go, not where your mom wants you to go, not where your dad. What are you advertising to yourself? Because I can tell you the hook, or I can tell you the message behind every top 10 song. You know, shake, 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 drugs, 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 I'm the man, I'm the man. And it's like, all right, well, yo, what are you putting in your ears on a daily basis? And you can say it doesn't make a difference. McDonald's just told me it made a difference during the Super Bowl when they paid $5 million. These people spend billions of dollars of advertising. What are you advertising to yourself? And you know, a lot of different other concepts. Just kind of, you know, I like to ask questions throughout. I try and get the reader with me so that we got to start thinking. I think we're not thinking as much anymore as a society. I think we're scrolling more than we're thinking, and everything we do, we're training our brain. So we just got to get more. We got to be more intentional about growing the person, you know, from within. Because you can't become more by having more, but you can have more by becoming more. And that's my, you know, that if I do, I mean, that's what I do for a living. Where I try and grow and motivate these kids to become more of a person, not through their grades, but through the actions that they will take, and those actions will spawn the grades. And and then, you know, hopefully that's it. And hopefully I'm done on the writing front, but you know, we'll see.
I think you have a lot more in you. I think you got a lot more brewing up in there, Roger. And I want to touch on the, you know, you become more when you are more, because I think the morning routine speaks to that quite a bit. You know, how to think. It shows you how to think. It starts with the meditation. And you mentioned a cold shower, which is part of what you know I partake in for the morning routine. So let's talk about yours in specific. How do you get up, dress up, and show up? What's your morning
Yeah.
routine like?
My thing is, of course, I go back and my little deal is motive and motivation. Like, how does this thing work? So how does motivation work? And I say everybody who has watched a sporting event has seen momentum, right? Everybody has seen momentum. So one, we know the motivated state takes place when four parts of your brain activate: the basal ganglia, the amygdala, the prefrontal cortex, and the occipital lobe. So your occipital lobe is the thing that you see. Like if I scratch my nails on a chalkboard right now, you would feel it, but you're not even there. Like, we're not even doing it. You can feel that. So you're one, whatever you practice in the morning has got to make you, you know, jump a little bit. It can't be too easy. Two, it's got to make you scared. Three, it can't just be, oh, I'm going to get up and do whatever. It has to be something that challenges you. So for me, I get up, I do a 30-minute workout. Doesn't, you know, matter it doesn't matter if it's abs, it doesn't matter if it's a walk. Like, I get as soon as I get up, I'm moving, because we know the best thing to do to get the cortisol and everything moving through your body is work out right when you get up, 3 hours before you or after you get up, or 11 hours. Those are the best times to do it. So I'm one of those, just get up and go. Two, that's when I read a paragraph out of a book. Like, I have a thick book that I didn't even, I was like, oh gosh. And I was like, you know what, read a paragraph. And then three, I'll get a 15 to 20-minute meditation. I'll rotate between certain aspects, whether or not I want to really delve into me and really be quiet and focus in on my breath, whether I want to do contemplation and move, you know, really move out, try and move my brain all the way to the edges of the earth or the universe, or three, move in between both of those actions, and then end that off with a cold shower for at least 2 minutes. And and the on days that I have a really great meditation in, it gets you up and you're rolling, and my mind is quicker. I'm moving. My lectures are on it. And for anybody, because I was like, meditate, sitting down and doing what? But it pays dividends. And then last thing is, observe yourself. You know, start a practice in the morning. My thing big thing is, if you're feeling sluggish, if you're feeling any type of way, start a habit. And the best way to start a habit is to start it first thing in the morning and make it so small that you can't not do it. And I didn't start off in 30-minute and hour workouts. I started off with a 5-minute ab session, and then you build it and build it and build it. I wasn't reading. I wasn't meditating. I wasn't doing all those things. this is where I have gotten to after 3 years of doing it, and I I swear on it, and just in observing me, being observant, like right, the scientific method is when we went into observation to find truth. Well, how much are you observing you? How much do you observe your day? How did I feel throughout the day? How did you, recollect? Try and remember, because everything you did in your day, you were there. Try and visualize your day, but in reverse, and see how much you forget. See how much you can't put yourself there. Um, but anyway, long story short, that's my that's my morning routine. Uh, Work out, read, meditate, cold shower, and then now I've started my momentum, right? Just like the sports game. Those are my
Yeah.
things. I got them done. Oh, I'm hitting my shots. And will the momentum keep going? I don't know. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. No one can tell you. But I know this: before I touched my phone, before I did anything, I got myself into the motivated, and I have a little bit of motivation. I'm sorry, motivation and momentum as I'm walking out of the door to face whatever chaos is outside. 'Cause,
Yeah, before you let anyone in or anything in, you took care of yourself. You prime yourself. You anchored yourself,
yeah,
so that you're better prepared for whatever can come your way. Because I feel like that after a good workout in the morning. So I do these hit workouts in a
yeah,
freaking hot room. And
hmm,
it's hard. It does challenge me every time of the day. I don't think I've ever heard that. Like, do something that challenge you in the morning. And willpower is at the strongest too.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
you try to avoid decision fatigue. Make sure if you can plan the night before, put everything out so that you can just step into your routine. That's even
hmm,
better. You don't have to think about what you're wearing. You don't even think about what you are going to do. You kind of have an outline or know what to step into. But the ordeal of doing something that challenges you really does play out throughout the day, because then you feel more confident stepping into whatever
exactly.
the day brings.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, meditation. Yeah. It's powerful. It's powerful.
yeah,
That's how you learn how to concentrate. We talked about that earlier.
yeah. Well, we know from meditation from one they did. I like looking at little psychological studies. So what they did is they put meditators that had been meditating for over like 20,000 hours. So they had already meditated over 20,000 hours, and they put them in MRI machines, and their brains were in gamma all the time. Now, the gamma brain wave is like when you bite into the apple and you get that synchronous taste, sound, sight, everything. We hit gamma for like zero point 0.5 seconds. These guys they took the MRI machine apart because they thought it was broke and put it back together. That's how high their gamma was. Another study was they took people and they did an MRI scan, and then after 10 hours of meditation, not continuous, so it was like after 2 weeks, and they did an hour a day or 30 minutes a day. Um, they had more gray and white matter in the part of their brain where it was the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, which is the part that helps us on focusing in. Um, so and I say try it. And a lot of people say I can't meditate because I go off. That's what's supposed to happen. What
Mm.
you're building is a muscle. If you haven't ever worked out in your life and I put you in the weight room, you think you're gonna put 500 pounds on your back? No, you are not. You're gonna start off, and it's not gonna be. It's gonna be tough, but
Mhm.
as you continually do it, you will grow, build, and put yourself in position to win. Essentially,
Yeah.
that's what it's called.
In your morning routine, you're doing that with two kids in the house. So
Okay.
you are waking up 5 a.m. before they
Yeah,
do. So you're taking care of yourself, giving you some time so that you can better show up for them. When they do wake up, you're prep, you're prime, you're ready.
yeah, yeah. I'm already ready. Like I see them dragging out, and I'm up. So, and we know that even in a relationship, in an intimate relationship, it doesn't really how much you love a person if you're not. It's not what you are. It's with what you're coming. So if I
Mm.
love you, I love you, I love you, but my energy is low, I would rather have somebody at energy 10 with a love at 5 or even 2, right? Because if they're bringing that energy to me, then that's really what we judge things off of. So I'm I'm wired. I'm up. I've already been up by the time we wake them up at 6:30. I've already been up for an hour and a half, and I'm feeling good. I've just gotten out of my cold shower. I'm in my shirt and tie, and I'm ready to go get my coffee. Ask them what their superpower is. Hurry them up. Tell them I'm going to see them after school, and roll from there. But putting that energy into them, and we all know it. Like the energy, it's not what you're doing; it's the energy that you bring with what you're doing that makes all the difference.
This is why I love what I do. I love having this show. I love the podcast. I love the people that I get to connect with. And I have to say, love having this conversation. When I first started this 3 years ago, I thought the morning routine is so intimate. I literally just went into your bedroom, your bathroom, and saw what you do. Your quiet Zen moment. You know what I mean? Like that's the best way to get to know somebody. Because if you know what they're doing in the morning, you can kind of know the direction their day goes, and then their week goes, their months go, their year goes, and their life.
Yes, that's it's well, one, like we were talking about earlier, like how much of us is like me, how much of me is me, right? It's all about our communication, right? How much can we communicate and transfer knowledge to each other? Because we're not the toughest animal that was on here, but what we had is we're not even the smartest. Chimpanzees have a better working memory than we do. We have that community concept where we can have a conversation, and now we can visualize and abstract out and say, oh man, oh, and we can see those things just through communication, just through open and honest logos, right? The open and honest attention to detail, and me creating that and speaking it into existence from just a space of love, right? And I think that's just, it's what we need more in the world. So I appreciate you for doing it, for taking the risk, being the entrepreneur and seeing a vision, right?
Yeah.
Having the courage to do it, right? And doing it, because it doesn't matter if it's up here, if it ain't here. And so I thank you. I thank you for holding the platform, for doing the work, and I'm excited that you're enjoying it. From, like you're saying, you could see so many other people, and uh, there are no, like, I can say something, but someone else says it a little differently, or someone, like, everybody has their own interpretation and perception, and when we transfer those different ones, it's a blessing. It's sweet. It's nice. It's why we're having the conversation now, and hopefully somebody listens to it, and at least one person, it's like, a light bulb clicks, or they get a warm, tingly feeling, and they get excited to move and jump up and go get a more actualized life.
Before I let you go, I'm going to give you an opportunity to let us know how we can connect with you. But you said something, and I know you're the expert because your first book is around these different personalities. And as an introvert myself, I get so charged up by these conversations because they're super stimulating, and it doesn't tire me out. I could be tired before coming on here, but getting a phenomenal guest, I'm ramped up. I'm ready to go. Like, I live and thrive on this stuff. What advice, because I've been learning over the years, I tend to just kind of leave it all up here. I process all up here by myself. But after getting married and having kids, I was like, I got to learn to express myself and speak. And I realized a lot of beautiful thing comes out from hearing from other people, and the point and thoughts that you did not think of yourself that you can actually apply. And it is this beautiful marriage that you talk about, like being able to communicate and express it. And it's a give and take. What advice do you give these personalities that feel like they need to be somebody else or something else to thrive in a space, especially this day and age?
Well, I tell my students all the time, I'm an introvert. Like growing up, like my parents tell me to shut up now, and I'm like, all my life you told me to, I needed to talk more. I needed to talk more, and I honestly felt like there was something wrong. Like I don't enjoy it. If I'm out, I am fine chilling. I am good. You will never change that about yourself. What you will always do is you will always be able to grow the other side. You can always grow that side of you. It's kind of like I forgot what the therapy is called, but when someone is scared of something, you don't you don't hide them away from it. What you do is you slowly make the exposure therapy. And once you voluntarily slowly expose yourself to something, that's why the first step is courage, knowing both the good and the bad, right? It's our, I was telling my students today, it's your level, uh, show me how much truth you can handle, because everybody thinks the truth is pretty, but no, it's not. There are some very vile and horrible things that are truthful, and show me your level of maturity, and I'll show you the level of truth that you can that you can have. And as your level of maturity raises, and I'm using maturity, but maybe the better word would be consciousness. I'll define consciousness as your understanding of the relationship of the things that are within your surroundings. So everybody has a different consciousness level. But as you start seeing more truth, you start seeing more in how, yeah, you can do it. Like even me as an introvert, no one's the introvert that has never talked to anybody, because we know that a human baby without human touch will die. We know that. So there is something, given warmth, given milk, given everything it needs other than human touch, you will die. We found out in the Soviet Union when they were trying to raise a whole bunch of babies for war. All of them died. There was also a point in time where, of course, male bravado, oh, holding babies is wrong and da da da. Well, a kid would go into the hospital and wouldn't see any parents, wouldn't get touched on, and then end up dying. So you can build it. You can build that side of you, but whether or not you have to, do it with, so I say, do it with a group of friends, do it with people who you are close to, and then be open and honest about, one, where you are, and then two, what are you trying to go and what are you trying to manifest? So I'll say this. You can see I'm long-winded. I think we have a bad concept of masculine and feminine in our society right now. I think people think that masculine is male and feminine is female, where masculine is an outward projection of something, where feminine is an internal projection of something. What's more important, what I think or what I say? It's both, right? It doesn't matter if I don't think before I speak, then I'm just babbling nonsense. And if all I do is think and not speak, then I'm not sharing it with everybody. And what we are always trying to do is find the yin and the yang. We're always trying to find that middle road where we're balancing on both. So, just like you were saying, you were more of an introvert. Maybe you had a whole bunch of things out here, and now you're going through an explosion of that that masculine energy, that outward projection, that sharing and creating. But that doesn't mean that, just like you were saying, you have a conversation and all of a sudden a whole bunch of ideas cascade out. But it's the same thing. There are certain aspects that I know, but might not. I have to ask myself in order to get the answer. Oh, dang, I should have got gas. Or, am I going to get gas today? Or whatever. So even in that dialogical concept with myself, it's the same thing with other people. And now that I might have asked a question that you didn't ask, but now it sparks the cascade, and now we get that insight. So just build, grow, understand that there's, and I go into brain hemisphere stuff. Right brain is for novelty, some things like ill-defined problems, and your left brain is for well-defined problems. So I guess the example I've been using is, 2 plus 2, what does it equal? 4. We know that. That is a logical, there's step by step, we know what's going. Ill-defined problem. The example I used today in class. If a lion dropped out of the ceiling right now, are you going to sit there? Do you care what color its eyes are? No. You just got enough of it so that you know what to do. So it's that yin yang between that right and left hemisphere. And if you're like, oh, maybe you're too much left hemisphere and you're trying to fit it too much into one thing, realize and understand that you can always grow in the direction that you want to grow, but you got to be courageous, because you are going to fail. Right? You are going to fall down at some point, and maybe it might take you 10 times to fall to realize that direction that you wanted to go wasn't for you, but it's not a failure, because now you know it's not for you and you can move on to the next task. Right? So that's why I say we never fail. We're so used to this finished product concept. Like, all right, so what? Here's what it is. It's going to be hard. All right, look, hey, You're going to learn how to walk right now. You're going to fall. Are you not going to walk?
Right.
No, you are. Right? Like it's the gift that we all take. So you're either taking things for granted or you're being grateful. Period. Are you grateful for the opportunity that you have in the sun with us right now? Because it's limited. It's going to leave you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something that's eating at you, okay, www dot and find out how to do it and go through it and take your baby steps and learn, get the bumps and bruises, but it's through our greatest achievements that we get our greatest accomplishments. Yeah.
Get your bumps and bruises because that's how you get your greatest accomplishment. Man, mic drop. Roger, please tell me, where can we connect with you? Where can we find you? Your books, all of it.
Yeah. Amazon for my books, the book everyone can read. And then the second one is Courage, Love, and Discipline, Build Your Pyramid. And then my Instagram, which Instagram wise, I'm posting like philosophical kind of stuff with motivational kind of stuff. It's at the number 1, Roger Pollard. And then my website, motivesinmotivation.com, where you can, like, I have little shirts where, you know, kind of like Be Life or courage or discipline or love, whatever, just something to get people where they're aware the concepts that they kind of believe in, because the human brain is made to forget. So these shirts are kind of a way to kind of throughout our day remind us of what specific virtue that we want to kind of align with, and then that's it. That's me.
Mm-hmm. I Tell me a quote that you want to leave us with. I know there's this. You're one profound man. I want to end with this. I'm grateful to have had this sit down with you. But tell us a quote to leave us with.
A quote. Okay. Every day, show people who you are. You know, every day let people know who you are, and then every now and then use words. Right?
Every now and then your worth.
Right. And you use words.
Oh, every
day, let people know who you are, right? And every now and then use words to say, let people judge you by your acts, right? Let people, if they have it, don't sit here talking about what you're going to do. And no. Don't tell me your goals. Show me how you work, and I'll tell you what your goals are, right? Done. And that's it. All of this blah, 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 talk. I'm no. I don't want to hear it. You know, if you were in a relationship with somebody and they told you they loved you every day and they were kissing somebody else, what are you going to judge? Their words or their actions? Somebody who hasn't told you that they loved you, but they're there, they're sacrificing for you every time you need them, they're there, they're doing everything for you. We judge action. Every day, show people who you are. Let people know who you are every day. Every now and then you might have to use words. And that's it.
That's it right there, Roger. Wow. Thank you so much for dropping the gems. And I love that quote, honestly. I do. Every now and then use words, but every day go out and show people who you are. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for your presence today.
Thank you for having me.
Hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please comment and tell us what was your favorite part, your favorite habit that you are going to try out for yourself today. Comment below. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Until next time, I will see you at the top of your best morning routine ever. Stay blessed.